Hello everyone, guys, girls, friends, families, haters, dogs, cats, gerbils, kids in the back of the car, and the people on the bus hearing this when you accidentally play out loud. I'm Rach.
And I'm Faith. Welcome to the Is It Normal podcast.
We love it that you're here.
Episode 4, baby! You're going to have to do that every time now.
Okay, I'm planning on it.
Nice. Cool. It's the only way we can think of to actually start the episode, so...
Yeah, it really is. We could just say hi.
That's true. Hi, everyone.
Oh, hey. Yeah, as said in the intro, we love it that you're here.
Yeah?
We love it that we're here.
We're in a new location.
Location.
How exciting.
So thrilling. Which actually matches the vibe of this week's topic, because...
It does, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's not give
Spoilers!
it away.
Spoilers! Okay.
Not the title of the episode.
Obviously
not.
obvious. Let's do show and tell.
My show and tell is a joke.
Okay.
Because last week was so intense. I was actually like, whoa, Rachel, rein it in. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might take a while.
Yeah, it might take a while. Why do bees stay in their hives during the winter?
I don't know. Why do bees stay in the hives in winter?
Swarm.
So...
That build-up is so intense.
Can I tell you a story about that joke?
Yeah.
So we were at a wedding recently and someone told that joke and I because I don't know, I just was like a little bit overexcited. So say the joke again and I'll say what I said in response.
I don't know what it is. Why do bees stay in the hives during the winter?
Because they are. Do you know the pirate jokes? Of like, why do pirates whatever? Because they are. I just
I've got these little mini bees in my head by the ground, like with wooden legs, parrots on their shoulders.
Bees don't have shoulders. Yeah, because obviously that's the problem.
Yeah. Obviously the parrot size isn't the problem.
So I just I just launched into it because they are like this, and everyone was like, okay. And then he told the actual punchline, and we were all like, oh.
It's not as good as it. It's not as good as our. Because they are.
Okay, so my show and tell is something I saw on Instagram, as is everything else in my life. Basically, it's just something I saved, and it's it's literally just like 2 sentences. And it just says, there is no award for never asking for help, and there is no award for never taking a break. And I've just seen quite a lot of stuff like that on social media recently about like, there's no medal for like, I don't know, doing everything on your own. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. I just think it's really useful to remember because it becomes such a like abstract goal, doesn't it? To like be hyper independent and not need anyone. It kind of links to what we were talking about last time.
Literally, yeah. It's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday as well. Sorry guys, we went to the gym yesterday and we were there for 3.5 hours and I probably did 45 minutes of an actual workout.
We did the whole workout.
We did the whole workout. But we literally were,
we were
just
there for
chatting. Should have just pressed record, shouldn't we? Could have done it then.
Yeah.
But one of the things we were talking about is the fact that like just hating being a burden to someone. But then you being like, actually, if I had broken down my husband, or if my husband had broken down in the car and he didn't tell me, I'd be like, whoa, what's that about? Like, you want to be there for people, don't you? Like, we want to, like, what an honour it is to have someone be like, hey, can you help me?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
It's an honour to let your friends sit in that with you and actually give them the opportunity to help you. Because I think, like, some people are good at that. Some people are, like, good at phoning people in a crisis or, always being in drama and phoning people. But equally, it's nice to have them friendships where you can phone them and be like, hey, I actually got this award for something. Or like, hey, this actually went well. I sometimes find that even harder to be like, okay, I'm struggling. Like, I guess someone's got to help me at some point. Yeah. But then also being like, this good thing happened and I want to tell you and it doesn't feel like bragging because you're my friend. Like,
celebrate
so it's
with
the balance.
me.
Yeah, it's the balance of both of...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you don't get an award for being isolated or being alone. Like, or not asking for help. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get an award for not asking for help, and you don't get an award for never celebrating anything that you achieve, right? polls. So we have our polls from episode 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is it normal to compare yourself to your friends? And the results are in. So the question was, do you compare yourself to your friends?
And what are the options?
Never, sometimes, often, always. 60% of people said often.
Wow, that's a lot.
That is a lot. And then 20% said sometimes, 20% said always, and 0% said never.
Wow, I guess it is normal.
I guess it is normal.
You're also normal if you don't compare yourself to your friends, that's fine. But like, fill out our podcast poll and then we'd know. Anyway. That's really interesting.
So definite, obviously quite a large majority, often.
From that, it's obviously like clear, isn't it, that everyone struggles to some degree with comparison with their friendships. So I hope it gives people permission to like be able to have conversations with friends then, because you're like, actually, this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Yeah. So hey, I like listen to this podcast and it said basically everyone struggles with comparison with their friends. I'm really struggling with the fact that I wish I had your career, your clothes, your car, your passion, your wisdom, your whatever it may be. Yeah. Can we talk about it?
And it can be a compliment.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And also I think it's really important to note that often in that same friendship you will each be comparing yourself to each other about different things. Yeah. And then opening up that conversation allows you to be like, oh really, you feel like that way about me? Well, I feel that way about you, but in this context. And it just kind of like evens the playing field a little bit and makes people feel seen and heard, right?
Yeah. So I hope that really encourages you guys to go and heal your friendships or your view of your friends or anyway, getting back to go rest another week. Take it away, Faith.
The question is it normal to struggle to find your aesthetic?
And what do you mean by that?
That's a good question. I guess so. The when we originally wrote that idea down, I think we were thinking about like just the fact that like me and you have quite different aesthetics in terms of like stylistically, right? So like as you can tell in this video, that like our houses look quite different and the stuff that we gravitate towards is quite different. But then we've kind of had further conversations, haven't we, about how aesthetic seems quite superficial and seems quite like shallow to talk about maybe. But we live in a society where microtrends are a massive thing, and being up to date is quite a like social pressure, and also how you present yourself to the world like does really matter, and it shapes how you're perceived and all that kind of stuff. So do you think that's a fair kind of context around the question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that because we're going to try and be a bit more structured, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Well, also we haven't done anything to implement any structure.
We have had a conversation.
What you just said then. That's some work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll kind of. Yeah, we'll start talking, and then we'll continue talking, and then we'll finish talking.
Yeah, basically.
And within
that's
that,
the structure.
that is our structure. And within that, we'll hopefully cover a few of the things you talked about. So yeah, viewing aesthetic as how you present yourself. So, you know, whether that's hair, looks, makeup, clothes, whatever. Yeah. Then your wider aesthetic being, you know, where you live, how like you decorate your life, basically. Yeah. It's kind of like how I view it.
It's like how you express yourself.
Yeah. Like the mug
like
you choose in work,
isn't it?
or like, you know, it's all part of who you are, isn't it?
Yeah.
The stuff you put up in your bedroom, like the type of I think like how you decorate your life is probably how I would view like an aesthetic. Yeah. That comes a bit complicated when microtrends come into it. So that's an interesting thing. Because, and I guess like identity also comes into it in the sense of like, do you know who you are if you're always copying microtrends? Yeah. Like, what is, or is part of who you are experimenting and having fun with microtrends? And that's, do you mean, so I guess trying to delve into that a little bit of like,
and not to make it like really complicated, but
it wouldn't be us if we didn't.
But I think there's also like a whole ethical side to it, isn't there? In terms of like, you know, like fast fashion and microtrends and all that does lean into like a hyper consumerist way of living, and that's not sustainable or ethical really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, so how does that, like, where does like morals and your kind of ethical stance also combine with like how you present yourself? Because that is also partly how you present yourself, isn't it? Like,
and also like how much do you care about how people see you?
Yeah.
So like, do you have to follow these trends so that you're seen as like trendy and up to date, and that you care loads about what people think of you? Or are you like, no, actually this is what I'm comfortable in, this is who I feel like I identify with, regardless of what's going on around me.
Yeah.
Like, this is me through and through. Yeah, it's just an interesting concept.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Because I think I get stuck on like, regardless of what you do, you're communicating something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you completely ignore trends, like that still says something about who you are. Do you know what I mean? There is no way where you're completely neutral and you're not communicating anything about who you are as a person. Because if you never follow trends, then that you're communicating that you're the type of person that doesn't follow trends. Do you know what I mean? And that you're not interested
like
in...
you're an individual.
Yeah, so it's like, regardless, you're always saying something. And I guess maybe that's important to recognise, is that like, it almost doesn't really matter in some ways, because people will read into how you present yourself, regardless of whether you mean to be communicating anything or not. And they'll read what they want, what they perceive into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than...
Because everyone's got their bias, haven't they?
Yeah, so they're going to interpret it how they interpret it. Have you seen the, like... I can't think how to describe it. I think it's like hair theory. Have you seen...
Oh, with the same face and like loads of different styles and colours of hair?
Kind of. Where it's like, people like perceive a woman differently, even if they're wearing the same outfit, based on like how their hair is styled.
Maybe, yeah. Or like something similar. I haven't seen that exact thing, but yeah, like it fascinates me.
It's so weird.
You know, like I always watch them barber videos.
Yeah.
And there's a guy in the chair and he like doesn't look what the world would perceive as like attractive or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he has like a haircut and I'm literally like,
yeah.
wow. Like,
yeah, literally.
The transformation.
Yeah.
Shocks me every single time. I think that about my hair a lot. But I also like, but the problem is like I don't care enough to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we can tell by this video, with what currently is my hair situation. Like, I was saying to you the other day, like I let my brother cut my hair the other day. I let my sister-in-law literally just tipped my head over the bath and like went snip. Because I was like, yeah, just get rid of the dead ends in it. Like I don't care. Like I just don't care about like my hair. I've got bigger things to, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Literally, I have to cook dinner like every night. So yeah, I just don't.
Yeah.
But I guess that's also.
But again, isn't that interesting though, that even in that you are communicating something about the type of person that you are? Because like, I know people that won't leave the house without having their hair like perfectly styled, and I mean like curled or like, do you know what I mean? Like to me, that's like a lot of effort.
That's like supreme occasion effort.
Yeah, like yeah.
But also, I guess we've got quite thin hair, so like it falls out straight away. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like as in the style falls out.
Yeah. And I can like shower and let my hair air dry and it'll be fine. Yeah. Like I do you know what I mean? I don't have like curls to look after so I get that it's different for different people. But yeah, I just think that's so fascinating that like just literally based on like, and I think about it a lot in the context of work. Yeah. That like based on the like how my hair is styled, I could be perceived as more or less professional. Yeah.
And what's hard with my work, so I work with like teachers and parents but also children in primary school. So like I have to present a certain way to the parents and the teachers. Yeah. But then I have to be fun and approachable for the kids. Yeah. So I'm like, how am I supposed to be professional and fun in the same environment?
It's like really different audiences, isn't it?
At the same time, yeah. Which, I've learned as you do. Like, that's always kind of been whatever career I've had, there have been parents and kids. So like I've always had to be that. Yeah. But I guess I rely on my personality to do that more. but there is still the second you walk into a room, people are judging you or perceiving you or having their bias put on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think actually whatever you do, that's gonna happen. However you look, that's gonna happen. And then sometimes your character just has to because that's only like, you know, the first 3 seconds you meet someone.
Yeah.
And then you can give an impression.
Yeah.
Based on personality and qualities and who you are and your character. So actually, do I care about the first 3 seconds? Like, not really, because even if think of like in a dating context, you know, like the first 3 seconds, you probably decided whether or not you like them really, like, or whatever. But if they're the type of person that will stick to that 3 second impression, then I'm not gonna be interested. Like, I don't want that kind of person to be my person. Yeah. Because I want someone who's gonna view someone as a whole, not just, you know, the way they look. Which would be my tangent on that.
Yeah. I know we've talked about clothes quite a lot. I'm sure we'll move on to other stuff in a minute. But like, obviously, so we talked about like different contexts, right? You dress differently based on different contexts. Do you think that based on what, like, how you're presenting yourself and what you wear in certain circumstances changes how you feel about yourself?
Yeah. So like my sister said to me once, I say my sister, it was probably like Marilyn Monroe, she obviously got it from somewhere, but basically that you can never be overdressed for a situation, but you can be like underdressed. Yeah. I think that stuck with me a bit of like, I'd rather look a bit better and more put together. Yeah. But I also love to be comfortable, so like I'm quite practical in what I wear. Yeah. But also in that wanting to be comfortable, I do feel more confident when I'm wearing clothes where I think this is a cool vibe, or like I like this outfit, and not that it's like flattering, because why are we so obsessed with being flattered? Like I don't necessarily care about like flattering clothes. Yeah. But like if I'm comfortable and like, oh, I like this logo, I like this vibe, like I like that the colour of my shoes matches the colour of my earrings. No one else will notice or care, but like I like that. I like that, put a little bit of thought and effort in. Yeah. So yeah, I think it does, like it does elevate my confidence if I feel like I've put effort in. Also I had this like rule of 3. It's either like my hair's good, my makeup's good, or my clothes are good. But you can't have all 3. You gotta pick 2. Yeah, yeah. So either like my makeup's good and my hair's good. Yeah. And my clothes are like meh. Or like my like face is good, hair's a bit rubbish, but clothes are good. I don't really think about that. I think like I'm normally like a face and clothes more put together, and hair I'm just like meh, as we've talked about. Yeah. What would that kind of look like for you? The rule of 3, like what was?
So are you saying you can't have all 3 because it will look too put together?
No, as in like it's just
too much effort.
Works. Like you can't have a good hair day and good makeup and a great outfit. Yeah, yeah. Like that's supreme. That's like going to a wedding. Yeah. Like, but day to day. So like if my outfit's a bit rubbish, I'll put a bit more effort in with my face. Yeah. Or like if my outfit's rubbish, I'll put like a cute bow in my hair. Yeah, I see what you mean. To like balance it. Yeah. So like, do you think you have a balance generally?
Mine would probably be, I don't ever really do anything different with my makeup. It's always just like this. Like I just do the same thing every time. So like I'm fat and I'm quite comfortable with that. Like I'm fine with that.
Whereas I feel like your outfits are always really cute. Like I always like your outfits.
But I would probably be the same in terms of like my makeup's fine and like I'm happy, like as in a good way, like I'm happy with my makeup, and then I like my outfit, and then my hair can like whatever. But that is just because like for a long time, like me and my mum have quite different hair types, so like I don't really know what to do with my hair. Whereas I'm trying to like get better at that because I want to be able to like do my hair a bit different and be like, this is a new way to like add a vibe. Do you know what I mean?
I would go on curly hair tangent, and I wish I had curly hair, and like I feel like people like luscious, big, curly, wonderful hair, like that is a vibe in its own. Like that's an aesthetic in its own. It's a statement, isn't it? So jealous of, yeah. Same. I would love to have.
So I think like it's totally like it is really normal, isn't it, to wonder how you're being perceived based on what you wear. Yeah. But I think I guess what the purpose in me asking you that question was like trying to flip it to be like also there is, you can use clothes as a tool, can't you, to like feel good about yourself or feel confident in certain environments. And like you say, being dressed for the occasion and feeling prepared for that occasion can bring a lot of confidence, a lot of self-assuredness, and makes you feel like yourself and whatever.
And even the micro movements of like, you know, if you're like always tucking at the top, or like tucking this, or like, you know, pulling it down here, or, you know, pulling it up because it's come down too low. And then, do you mean like that is perceived as like anxious or not prepared or whatever it may be? So if you're doing like a business meeting and you're there like tucking it in your sleeves, tucking it top, pulling it like, whereas if you're, so it's that balance of comfortable and confident, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think using it as a tool is really important because it can make you feel powerful or sensual, or like clothes are like they're a very powerful tool that people use to express themselves to the world. And also that whole thing of like we give out what we want to receive. Not that I'm, you know, like saying that that's a law. But in the sense of like, you know, if you give out like farm chic, I don't know, you might marry a farmer. Like, I don't know what the point is there, but like you'll attract.
It's an expression of who you are, isn't it? So it communicates to the world, this is what I value, and this is what I'm interested in, and so it does attract people to. Do you know what I mean? I know what I mean. Because
also if you're wearing like a band shirt, like I don't know, the Beatles, then someone can come over and be like, oh, I like the Beatles too, and and I think like it comes from that place of like when you were in school, there was quite a few defined groups. So this is where like labeling kind of comes in. You'd have like jocks for, you know, or like, you know, for our American,
like the sports
for
teams.
Our American listeners. So like you'd have like the sporty ones. You'd have like the like, you know, underage drinking, cool, like popular, pretty environment. Then you'd have like the really clever,
like the studious ones.
A
like
bit
the creative
different
ones.
I would say clever, like intellectuals, and then like the creative, maybe a bit different, maybe a bit of a different vibe kind of thing. Like there was very much quite like a rigid,
like social structure.
Generally slot into one of them, or none of them, sadly, or goodly. I don't know, because I think you'd have the group of people who are like, I'm not gonna be part of your. You'd have the really like aware ones, wouldn't you?
And then,
like,
but ironically,
that was me.
Their own group, like, do you know what I mean? So
ironically become their own group. So I think it's like we want to put people in boxes, don't we? Like we want to understand who someone is from the second that we meet them.
So, but I guess, like, what about other expressions of, like, aesthetic, though? So, like, what about, I mean, we're sat in your house right now.
What?
Like, what? Yeah. Why do we get here?
It's a mess!
Yeah, because obviously, like, the clothes that we wear is a massive way of how we present ourselves to the world. I guess we haven't touched on, is it normal to struggle to find your aesthetic? Do you know what I mean? We've just talked about, is it normal to kind of have an aesthetic, which... Well, have we even talked about that? I don't know. We've kind of rambled about it. I don't know.
And I think that thing of like, actually, yes, it is normal to struggle to find that, because in a world that's ever so changing. So in a world where maybe you didn't fit into a box in school, and in a world where there are micro fashion or aesthetic or whatever trends there may be, even personality trends, I swear, there are so many different trends that people are always trying to follow. Like, it's really hard to know which one you actually authentically are, and I don't know how you connect to like your authentic self to be like, actually, what is my identity rooted in? And actually, where do I, or like, how do I present that to the world?
And also, those boxes are so narrow, aren't they? So like, it's unrealistic to expect that you will be like, oh yes, I am cottagecore. And that is who I will be forever. Like, that's not, you know, we change over time, don't we? We grow and develop and we learn new things and our circumstances change, and that gets reflected in how we present ourselves to the world.
And also, like, if you have a partner, that also changes your circumstances and kind of changes the aesthetic of where you're living. For example, like, people come into your house and they say, why have you got Lego everywhere? Like, I can't believe you let him put Lego there. And you're like, what do you mean? Like, this is a shared space.
It's like, it's his house too.
Not letting him do anything. So, like, yes, so like just add to that example of
100%.
aesthetics.
It becomes a joint thing.
Yeah.
When you live with someone.
And I feel like you see partners kind of like growing to each other.
It's like when have you seen that thing where like
100 Dalmatians? Oh no, sorry.
No, when owners look like their dogs.
That's what I'm saying. 100 Dalmatians. Like you see
them
walk past the window, and there's like the owner literally looks like. Yeah. I'm so glad you know this. I always say this to people. I'm like, because dogs look like their owners.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're a curly haired crazy person, and you have a spaniel. Like,
yeah.
You
what do you mean?
Exactly the same. No, that's only curly haired spaniel people. Yeah. No, I really like. Yeah. That's 100%. An aesthetic. Pets.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, well, I think it's such a broad topic, isn't it, in a way, because like what your life looks like obviously reflects what your life is.
Yeah.
You know? So
does it? We got some fakes and some frauds out there.
yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like you don't actually know people by the way they look.
No.
Like, I could wear a Beatles top because I like the aesthetic of the top, but I don't know who the Beatles are. I do, obviously. But, like...
I think it does come back to what we've talked about a few times in probably all of the episodes, of, like no one cares. And that's a freeing thing, isn't it? Like, I don't actually care if... It doesn't affect my relationship with you, my friendship with you, if you arrive and you're wearing something that I wouldn't personally wear.
Yeah.
Or your house looks... in a way that I wouldn't choose for my like, okay, but like that's fine. Fun. Like that's really cool because I get to be like, oh, like that's really cool that you're different to me, and isn't that the whole point, that we're different from each other?
And I think what is really difficult in this generation is that like our For You pages become tailored to who we are and what we like and what we see, so then you don't ever really see anything outside of that. So you might show up wearing some trainers that I've never even considered to look at, and I'm like, they don't really comfy and practical. Are they nice? I don't know. Maybe I'll think about that. Do you mean? But like, whereas my For You page or whatever I look at all the time is so specifically tailored to me, it keeps me in that like narrow mindset. Yeah. Which I think is really damaging because you get into some rabbit holes that maybe aren't healthy or aren't useful, and you don't see things from other people's perspectives, and you don't like then grow and learn and have the ability to change. Or are aware that there are different options out there. Yeah. Especially if you stay in your circle of, this is my creative circle, or this is my like clever circle, or this is my sporty circle. Like I can't venture outside of that. And I think it comes to that thing of like, we are not two-dimensional. Yeah. We are whole beings. We are complex. We have loads of different desires. We have loads of different wants and needs, and actually narrowing ourselves into one particular way of living isn't helpful, or I don't think it's what we were designed for. I think in the last episode you mentioned like play and how fun it is to explore and to play and to like create new situations for ourselves and learn new things about ourselves and taking ourselves outside of the boxes that society's put us in, because we don't always choose who we're wanting to be. Sometimes we kind of get put in a box because I don't know, my brother had like a mullet, like when they were actually back in the day, like we're talking, 10 plus years ago. And my mum was like, you'll never pass your driving licence with a mullet. You should cut your hair so you can pass your driving licence. Ironically, he failed with a mullet and did pass and had a cut. But like, do you know what I mean? So like sometimes the word like is how people perceive us, isn't it? And he was the same person before and after the mullet, as links into hair theory, but. I think it's really important to be like, sometimes just look at our lives and be like, am I happy with what's happening right now? And happiness isn't, I don't think, the goal necessarily, but like, am I pleased or content or enjoying the direction in which my life is taking? Am I enjoying who I'm becoming? If not, maybe I should step outside of that and actually make some different choices. Yeah.
It links back to, again, I think I've said this previously, but about how you build evidence for yourself of the type of person that you are. Yeah. So, every decision that you make, just forms part of that evidence. So, for example, if you're always, if you're always buying into the most recent trends, then you're when you look back, your evidence tells you that you're the kind of person that has to keep up with trends.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Equally, that's also, you can use that, like you're saying, in kind of a flip way, can't you? Look back at your life and think, okay, all the evidence is telling me that I'm a really cautious person, but actually I don't love that about myself. So let me challenge myself to step out of that and
you can
do
make
something a little
choice.
bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that it's just self-awareness, isn't it, really? That whole
Yeah.
evidence thing is literally just about understanding that, like, the decisions that you make shape who you think you are, like how you perceive yourself. I think that's what I find really interesting about the whole clothes thing when it comes to, like, does it shape how you feel about yourself in different situations? Because, that is linked with how other people perceive you and being confident that people are going to perceive you how you want to be perceived, potentially, or that you're not going to, like, stick out, maybe. But I think more than that, for me, that comes back to, like, it changes the way how I perceive myself. I perceive myself as, I'm showing up for myself as someone that puts a bit of effort in and that does care how I get perceived in, like, a healthy way. Do you know what I mean? And I guess this is where maybe it's worth recognising that, like, there's, like, a healthy or an anxious way of going about all of this. Like,
Absolutely.
you can be always on Pinterest, always looking at interiors and looking up different style buzzwords, or, like, different like all the cores, like cottage core and gorp core and all these different, like, versions of trends. You can be, like, always looking at that and always wanting, like, oh, well, I can't buy that one thing because it doesn't fit into the aesthetic that I'm trying to go for and whatever. And, like, that's, like, an anxious kind of way of going about trying to find an aesthetic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think there's also, like, a really healthy, joyful, expressive way of going about it where you're taking inspiration from stuff and you're just enjoying living your life. It's a very privileged position to be in, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where, like, you have the means and you have the time to enjoy this kind of creative, expressive type way of living. And also, I do think that some people's responses might just be like, oh, I'm just not into, like, expressing myself creatively, like, I'm fine. And I think when it comes to, like, aesthetic, again, that is expressing something. Do you know what I mean? Like, refusing to fall into a particular box or not caring about that and just wearing whatever the heck you own and not worrying about it. That does communicate something about who you are. And that in itself I find really interesting. Isn't it wild that as humans we're literally always communicating with each other and we're always perceiving stuff and interpreting stuff, and, like, society is weird. Conclusion. I'm joking.
Is it just us?
Yeah, we know what.
Maybe we're just the ones who are, like, constantly perceiving and learning, and maybe no one else actually cares.
Maybe.
Do you struggle to find an aesthetic? I feel like when I look at you, I know you have an aesthetic. And I don't even care what the aesthetic of a person is. I like when they have one, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you've thought about that. That's so cool. I think because I see it as a creative expression.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you really put some thought into that. I love that you've done that. I love that that matches that. I love that you, do you mean, like...
Yeah.
And then when you see them, and it's like a similar vibe, but like a different outfit. And I love that.
Yeah.
Probably because there's safety in knowing that's who they are, that's who they'll show up as. And I feel like you've got that. Like, I feel like if I saw an outfit, I'd be like, oh, that's a Faith type of outfit. Or, like, if I saw you in something, I'd be like, yes, that matches who I perceive you as.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that, and that really annoys me. And I really wish I did. That's interesting.
So I think that for a long time I did struggle with it. I also, as with everything we've literally talked about on this podcast, I think it does come with age as well. Like, it just comes with, like, learning about yourself and, like, getting to know yourself a little bit better and all that. There does come a point where you have to just be like, I mean, I like what I like. Yeah. Like, I mean, you gravitate to what you gravitate. Yeah. Like, you're particularly when it comes to clothes, like, I do think there's a point of, like, your personal style is probably just in your wardrobe. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
could look at mine.
You might not know how to, like... you might not know how to, like, put stuff together as creatively as you might like to or whatever, but, like, people gravitate towards what they like, and so, yeah, the things that you like are probably already there. It just might be mixed in with some stuff that maybe doesn't make that much sense.
I have 20 years, but I can't throw out because I'm
I think more recently I've learnt to like, I think that's why I brought up the whole like anxious or healthy kind of thing. So I think for a long time it meant a lot to me and I really cared about it, and that just meant that I was in like an anxious space when it comes to clothes and stuff. And part of that is just growing up, right? Because obviously your body changes and there's a lot to deal with in that. And then you settle into your personality and you settle into your actual life, don't you? And then like
prefrontal cortex forms and
all those are very helpful things. So I guess like if people are listening and they are in that like age bracket of stuff is changing and you're trying to figure out who you are and whatever, like that's just part of the journey. That's so normal. And there will be a time when you feel more settled that you know who you are,
and there's also not like a penultimate part of that.
Like
there's not like a I know who I am, I know what I wear, I know what I want to put out into the world. Like that's not necessary like because we should be always evolving. There should be that part of us that always like, because then we'll get older and then we'll be like, okay, maybe like a tank top and short shorts aren't my vibe anymore. Never be my vibe. But like maybe I want to wear like a flowy skirt now because I'm 50 and I feel like you know that's still young, but like that changes. Like motherhood, like you have to wear nursing bras or like stuff changes, and then your outfits will have to be more practical, or maybe your job changes and now you're like having to wear clothes that are more like practical and drawable rather than like a blazer.
And how fun that in each of those contexts you get to learn what being you looks like in those contexts. And I think that's been the thing for me, is like trying to shift that mindset and be like just treating it a bit more like play, a bit more like exploring, and being like, what do I like? What don't I like? And actually not really worrying about what other people think about either of those things. If I want to try it, great, and if not, that's fine. Like that's all good. And
I think like that, so bringing aesthetic back into like interiors, I would have had a Pinterest board, but I had like no go out and buy things and think, oh, would this fit into something? Well, basically, actually, I didn't have any money, so like everyone just gave me stuff, and it all can't fit together. Okay, do you know what I mean? And I put up some sparkling, like some fairy lights and some plants, and everything was fine. But like, would I have chosen this carpet of pink and green flowers from the 1960s? Probably not. But actually, did I have the money to do new carpet? No. So I picked out some colours I liked in it, and I painted the wall them colours. Like sometimes you just embrace what you're given. And actually, I love the vibes. And like, and I didn't like purposely create anything. Obviously, I just happened to thump on things, and I didn't purposely plan or think or curate or do like a vision board. But things just kind of happened to fit together because it was stuff that I was like pulled to. It was stuff that you were saying earlier, like that's what I like, that's what I gravitated
and also
to.
like,
so they all kind of just blended together.
And also that kind of like eclectic, like that's a vibe, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like that is
accidental vibe.
That is a thing in and of itself. So okay, this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's probably worth. I find it really interesting, so I'm going to talk about it. So there's a lady called Alison Bornstein, who's a celebrity stylist that like has loads of stuff on like TikTok, and she's got a book out and all this kind of stuff. And she has this, I think it's like a theory or a method, I'm not sure, called like the 3-word method or theory, I can't remember. And the idea is that you pick 3 words that describe your like style, and then when you're like putting an outfit together, obviously it's in the context of clothes particularly, but I think it does apply more generally as well. And you know how you were saying about hair, makeup, clothes, like how those balance out. It's a similar thing where like your outfit has to hit all 3 words, but it can be in like different percentages. So like let's say like, I don't know, someone's 3 words could be classic, tailored, polished, right? So like I know those 3 words are quite similar, but like classic could mean that they always wear like shirt and trousers, or like, do you know what I mean, quite clean lines type thing. Tailored could mean they're always fitted rather than like oversized, and then polished could mean that their hair's always like neatly done up,
and there's
or
like
something.
Jewelry that's specific. Do
you know what I mean? So like the vibe is all there, or it could be like retro, sporty, colourful. Yeah, those could be your three. In which case, like, you could have a really colourful retro outfit, but if it doesn't have the sporty element, it's not going to feel like you. But she talks about, I think it's really clever, she talks about like having 3 pairs of sunglasses that each fit one of the vibes. So that if you've got an outfit that's missing one of the 3 words, you just need to pick that pair of sunglasses. So like you might put a like sporty pair of sunglasses with like a retro colourful outfit, and then it makes sense. I just think that's really interesting. And I think
a really helpful step if
yes,
you're like
exactly
wanting to kind of start like thinking about, because I think you could do that for interiors as well. Or,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Or like, and I always say interiors, but I just mean like, if you're like 12, you can still decorate your bedroom, or like you can still or if you're in uni and you've got halls, like in halls I would always put stuff on the walls, or I would always like have like these cushions that I would take around me because I moved every year. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always stuff you can always design your space, can't you?
Or like
even the office desk.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
You can completely you can, like, I just think we forget that, like, we have free will. Like, you can do, like, within reason, kind of what you want in your space to make it your own.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, even the mug you use in work can say something about you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you can express yourself in so many different ways. Or, like, if you have a car, like...
Yeah.
The little... Like, I've got a little air freshener that's 100% lost its smell. It says, like, I love you cherry much. It's got little cherries on it.
That's cute.
And like I love a pun, so like I leave it there because I think it's cute, and I get new actual nice smelling air fresheners, or like and I've got like a lip gloss and a lip stain in my little thing with like some chewing gum and a little pack of tissues, and like do you mean like you can create your space to look how you want it to look, like this is your life, you're living in it, like create something you love, like like you have so much potential to make so much beauty out of the mundane.
And isn't it so cool though that I thought about this walking up a mountain the other day. I thought about how...
Okay, Jesus.
No, it's not even that deep. I was thinking about how, like, the amount of people that have walked up that same mountain and yet none of us would have taken exactly the same route. Do you know what I mean? Like, your like, literal footsteps up that mountain are completely unique, even though thousands and thousands of people will have walked up that mountain. Yeah. And how insane is that? And how cool is that, like... Like this, like it's the whole no one cares versus no one cares.
Woo!
Like same thing again, isn't it? Of like you like your unique combination of stuff that you enjoy and stuff that you gravitate towards is completely unique to you, and so there's so much freedom in that because like you're like just be yourself. Do you know what I mean? And also, like, no one really cares. So, like, it doesn't actually matter. There's no... Kind of goes back to my show and tell, isn't it? There's no award for getting it right, because there is no getting it right. It's literally a creative expression. Yeah. And actually, if you don't want to creatively express yourself through like, aesthetic, you don't have to. Like, that's absolutely fine. And in and of itself is a way of expressing yourself.
I think it goes back to that, like, it is also just, like, little bits of connection. Yeah. Like, my work water bottle has, like, loads of stickers on it. Yeah. From, like, my little, you know, various adventures and stuff. And, like, so everyone knows that's, like, my water bottle and work and whatever. And then they were joking about the fact that I would be, like, a Hufflepuff if I was Harry Potter, but I literally have no idea what that means. Right, okay. I was like, what does that mean about me? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean I'm a Hufflepuff?
That's such a Hufflepuff response.
Literally. And my boss,
I'm a Ravenclaw, by the way.
He was trying to undig a hole so badly. He was like, "Oh, I just mean that I was like, "What do you mean?" Anyway, but then there's another woman in work who's hilarious. But she has a label maker, and that's very much her vibe. So she made me a label, like a sticker maker label of Hufflepuff. So that's on my bottle now. Nice. And I've got like God vibes only, like instead of good vibes only, and like do you mean like stuff like that? Yeah. And it's just like little bits of connection with people. Yeah. So then someone can be like, so like when I go and see like kids or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, are you Hufflepuff? You?" And I'm like, "No, I got no idea what Harry Potter is, mate. Like, what are you? What does that mean for you? Like, do you like? Do you mean like? It's just them little parts. So like, if you want to be someone who doesn't want to interact with the world, then fine, like do you, babe. Yeah. But if you want like, I think you can just get really beautiful moments in the little connections. Yeah.
It's personality, isn't it? It's like letting people in to see.
And you're allowed to have that.
personality.
Like, you're
Yeah.
allowed to have a personality. Like, especially in a professional context. Like, I really think it's important to, like, have a personality as well. Like, you don't have to be a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it then goes back to our previous episode about, like, you are who you are and you have to offer what you have to offer. Like, and that's wonderful and beautiful, and the people who want it really love it, and the people who don't want it, why would you want them in your life anyway?
Yeah, and at least what you're expressing is actually you.
Yeah, authentic.
So if people do take it, they are actually taking you rather than like a pretend version of And I guess in it being about personality and about who you are, it's also about who you aren't, isn't it? Like, again, I know we've talked about this before, but like when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So like, I kind of was thinking about this the other day, how like I'm never gonna be a minimalist. And like I will never be that person that has like everything organised in like clear plastic containers on the side with like freshly labelled, and I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not. I'm just too chaotic for that. And
the stress it caused would not be worth
it. No, like well, it just wouldn't happen. Let's be fair. So like, but that in and of itself, that's okay because that is an expression of my personality, and that's fine. Like. But yeah, like if my house is a little bit chaotic, like fine. Because I feel it in work sometimes, because like the bag that I take to work is just full of random stuff. And like the other day, I was trying to find my fork for my lunch, and I pulled out like 5 teaspoons and was like, oh, that's where all the teaspoons are. And I've got like, I had like a t-shirt in there and like all this like random stuff. Eventually I did find my fork, thankfully. But like, do you know what I mean? Like that just is who I am, and that's fine. Like I don't need to beat myself up about that. If that's who I am, then that's who I am. So we just have to accept ourselves for who we are and like, just like lean in, you know? Do you know what I mean? It's so much more fun if you do actually like lean into who you are and lean into what you like and enjoy that. Let it be that healthy thing over the anxious, like, oh, how are people going to perceive me and whatever. Let it just be an expression of who you are. Yeah.
Like, what do you get from beating yourself up?
Exactly.
There are enough bullies in the world. You don't need to be one to yourself.
Yeah. You can at least back yourself, can't you? And on that note, you are normal because no one is.
And you're not alone in that.
Yeah.
Judging from our polls.
Yeah.
You're not alone in the feelings of confusion and the feelings of uncertainty and the feelings of like, who am I, what am I doing, where do I belong, like where do I fit? Like, you're just not alone in them really difficult questions and conversations. Like,
but that can be like a positive place to be. To be figuring it out.
You also get to decide. Yeah. Like, actually, if you really wanted clear Tupperware boxes that were labelled and had everything left, right and centre, like in alphabetical order, you actually could do that. Like, but actually, if you wanted to be that, you could be that if you felt like it was worth it. And it's not, because you know who you are. So just don't feel pressured. Take time, take effort. Just think about who you are and actually what resonates with you, and you'll be drawn to and attracted to the things that were meant for you in the grand scheme.
And also, the massive caveat and the freedom that comes with it really does not matter. It is not that deep.
If a person judges you for the jumper you're wearing, I feel like you're okay without them in your life.
And like, you are who you are regardless of whether that's presented through what you wear or not, or do you know what I mean? It does matter, but there is also an element of it being a luxury, do you know what I mean?
It's a very privileged conversation, we're very aware of that, you know. It's a luxury to be able to define yourself. It really is, and we're very, very aware of that, and that's a privileged position to be coming from.
It's fun. It's supposed to just be fun, creative. We are all creative, aren't we, at the end of the day? So
made very creative, bound to be creative.
if you have thoughts on other questions that
Questions,
we
quiz,
should
and thoughts.
chat about, please do let us know. You can email us at the isitnormalpodcast@gmail.com, and you can also send us a message on Instagram or TikTok, both at the Is It Normal Podcast.
And also comment on Instagram or TikTok the 3 words you would use to describe yourself, your fashion, your aesthetic.
Yeah.
We would love to hear. We'd love to know more about you. We adore that you're here. You are adored and you are loved.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Yay.
Bye.
Oh, also, if you do write us an email or like have a question that you DM us, let us know if you want to be anonymous or not. Because we will start mentioning questions people have brought in, and we want to keep your identity safe if you want that, or if you want a little shout out, we're happy to do that too. So yeah, give us a little indication of whether or not you want to be seen.
Cool. Bye.